you ever heard any feedback on TV?
No.
No, you don't get feedback. And yet in the local church, you get feedback. All these things happen. I'm only saying that because I'm saying that unless we answer to someone, no one knows how we are. You see what I'm saying? And I was saying in the same sermon, I was saying we have many people that choose now to go to a TV church, because in TV church, you don't have to answer to anyone. You don't have to have a relationship with anyone. You don't have to be challenged by anyone. So I'm just trying to balance the situation in a sense of we don't need people browbeating us, but at the same time we need to be guided.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to bring that other side of the coin, because I one of the things I said at the beginning of the conversation we had today is that we also want to look at recognizing spiritual abuse, because pastor says that you won't be singing on the worship team this week because you didn't bother to turn up to practice, is not spiritual abuse. It's called discipline. There's a thin line. So where are we going to argue about that? I mean, it's recognizing what abuse is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And sometimes we roll into it because we haven't recognized it. I hope that's making sense. So I think that's something I'd like to hear in the conversation tonight. Maybe someone could call in and tell us how they recognized when it went from discipline to abuse.
Yeah.
We hear it all the time. Let's just go there because we're here now, and I don't mind, but we're here. How many times have we heard, if you don't pay your tithe, God is going to? If you don't pay your tithe, God will. And you think, well, I don't know about all that, because I remember when I was in the world and I was living like a devil, and I still had a job and I always had money. So, did God supply or not? Which one are we doing? God looked after me when I was in a bad place too, when I wasn't being good too. That's the God we serve there, It's just getting this balance right. Anything that you can take and take it to the extreme then becomes abusive. Whether it's left or right, brother, I've heard two sides of the coin. One where it's gone too far to the left or too far to the right. Let me just finish by saying the scripture says that an uneven balance is an abomination to God. So, I think we have to keep that balance right. Yes, you should do so and so, but I don't need to be beaten up for it when I can't do it. On the other hand, if you have said God has called you to it, then expect the discipline to do it.
Amen.
Because we'll never grow. I'm just saying we need to get that balance right, and maybe we'll talk a bit more about that. And recognizing abuse, anyway, that's the point I'm trying to say. Where does the line draw? Where do we draw the line?
Mr. Kessler, did you hear Pastor Owen?
Yes, I did. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, yeah.
Yes. I did hear what Pastor Owen said. As he was speaking, there was one or two things that actually came to mind. And I think one of the things that stood out for me when he was talking about who polices the police. Like, in other words, there are cases where you have some church establishments which have been erected by individuals where they are not accountable to anyone.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, I go and I start a church. Yeah. But I have no one that I'm accountable to. Everything or all the decisions that are made as it relates to the church comes via me, then, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is I think that can be a major issue when you have somebody who is in leadership and they are a law unto themselves. Major problem. Because they're doing everything based on, so it's like there's no democracy. Everything is based on theocracy. I am the leader. I am the only one that hears from God, and God has given me the vision, and this is how we're going to do things in this establishment. You understand what I'm saying? And say, for example, if that leader is exercising spiritual abuse, there is no one that you can call to. There is no one that you can go above that particular individual so that they can be held accountable. No one. And that is a major challenge. And it will be very interesting to hear what the listeners will have to say, or how do you deal with an establishment or leadership that's not accountable. Yeah, people may say, oh yeah, they're accountable to God, but if you have gone through a particular situation within your local fellowship, and let's say, for example, leadership is not accountable, there's no one that's covering them, there's no overseer over that establishment, who do you go to when spiritual abuse has been exercised within your local fellowship? Who do you go to? Who do you speak to? Who reprimands that leader, or who corrects that particular leader within a situation? Do you understand what I'm saying? I think that is something that came to me, because I know there are establishments where leaders, as I said, they're a law unto themselves. They do what they want to do. And even there are cases where they may have covering, they may have someone who oversees them, but the person who oversees them does not get involved in that particular church's affairs. So even when the leader is wrong, or they've done something that is inappropriate in whatever way, you cannot, if you call up their covering is going to direct you right back to your leader. How is that? It becomes a conflict of interest. It's very challenging to deal with or to function within an establishment where the leader is not accountable to no one, and the buck starts with them and stops with them. How do we navigate ourselves through a situation like that? So that's one of the things that came to me.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that Pastor Owen also mentioned was, let's say, for example, people who make a decision to not come to church and they're watching services via stream. They cannot be challenged, they cannot be disciplined, they cannot be corrected, etc., etc., etc. And I think some people have made a decision to watch services via stream because of some of the spiritual abuse that they've encountered or endured, and that's why they have resided to staying at home and watching it online. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it can become a little bit dangerous, because who are you? On the other hand, who are you accountable to?
Yeah.
Who are you answerable to? How do you know that you're walking in the right and proper way? How are you interpreting what you are hearing, let's say, for example, from that particular pastor or church that you are watching on live stream? You know what I mean? Who's mentoring you? Who's guiding you? Who's counseling you? You know, but then, as I said, some people have made the decision to opt out of coming into a church gathering and have decided that I want to stay home and, let's say, for example, watch the service online because of some of the spiritual abuse that I've endured from my local fellowship or from the church that I was once a part of, and I feel more safe in my own household, where, you know, I'm not answerable. But yet again, that can also be dangerous. And I'm hoping that we can unpack that part of the discussion tonight as well, in terms of how do we move forward, how do we deal with that. So those are the two things that came out as he was speaking. So it should be interesting to see what people have to say. I'm trying to settle that. Please bear with me, guys. I'm kind of
no worries. You do what you have to do, bro. We're all having a bit of an up and down situation right now. What I really want to hear from a caller. I just want somebody to call in and let us know how you're receiving the show at the moment, and if there is any technical things that we can do to make the broadcast this evening a lot better as well, whilst we're continuing with the topic. Please call in and just let us know. If you call in and it really is a terrible show, we might have to just cut the show and come back next week, because I'm not sure if it's actually going out 100%. So can somebody please just call the studio on 07 534 610 422 and just let us know you can hear us fine. That way we can definitely proceed with the show. I can't see any messages. I can't see any messages as normal. I can see there are a few people logged on, but I can't see any messages. So I do know there's something not working 100%.
Okay.
If you are listening, and you can hear us, please call in, even just to give us a signal check. All right, you might not want to contribute to the topic, but just give us a signal check and let us know how the show is being broadcast on the platform that you are maybe listening or watching from. 07 534 610 422. If we don't get any calls, I think we might have to just end the show. And okay, it's loud and clear on Instagram. Thank you, Man City. Loud and clear on Instagram.
And I will say it is actually loud and clear on your website.
And it's loud and clear on the website. Right.
Yeah, on your website. Yes.
Okay. So I need okay, just
Okay, it's loud.
So it's just YouTube and maybe Facebook.
yes, which are the Twitch as well, which is
Right.
mainly where everybody else is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hopefully somebody will call the show. We know